If I knew that I had to listen to my gut and not blindly follow directions, I might have graduated even earlier. Hi, I'm Dr. Pavel. Bit cheesy, but what can I do if that's my name and I'm a biomedical scientist? What's more important is that here on this channel I want to share unorthodox advice with life science students. And that's because I want to save you time and help you own your scientific journey. I finished my PhD in 2020 and it took me 3.5 years. But before I started, I had no idea about a lot of things when it comes to PhD. One of them was how to select a successful and unique research topic, which is the subject of today's video. I've made some big mistakes in doing that, and I will help you avoid them and save you time and energy that's better spent on things like smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and then subscribing to this channel, where I also interview life science professionals and ask them to share some truly invaluable advice from various corners of academia and biopharma industry. Thank you, and let's begin with this. If you had just been admitted to a PhD program, well, congratulations. One of the first things you can do before even settling into your lab is to understand gaps in existing knowledge about your future research. This is typically done by reading papers. A lot of reading. I know, to me it kind of sounds a bit boring. So is there a way to speed this process up? Yes, definitely. Now, you should start by talking to someone in your lab. This is especially relevant if it's your first couple weeks in the lab, but can be done prior to beginning of your PhD. But only if you're really that excited and don't want to get any break from previous studies. So ideally, find a few people, staff scientists, postdocs, who have already read a lot of those papers in this area and ask them for recommendations. Just don't waste time trying to go to NCBI and do your own research, at least not from the get-go. Asking for reading recommendations not only has the benefit of saving time, but also understanding that some research branches have already been explored enough, or in contrast, where questions still remain. Those are the gaps in knowledge that you need to spend extra time investigating. Reading introductions and conclusions first, and following citation trails to earlier and earlier papers is a great and fertile ground for soul searching for a few weeks as early as you start your PhD. I recommend to pause this video and do just that, and then come back for the following tips if you want. Okay, so after identifying gaps in knowledge, it's a good idea to share them with your supervisor. If you have 5 questions that you're interested in exploring, that's great. Well, that's it, you hit the jackpot. No, just kidding. Now you gotta find another 5 to keep in your back pocket, because chances are you have missed a few papers that have already addressed them that your supervisor will unquestionably let you know about. That's okay, it's all part of the learning process. That totally happened to me, by the way, and more than once, when I'd occasionally show an interesting paper only to be told, duh, I knew that, that's been explored to death already. So when you have a nice list of 4 or 5 bullet points that have passed to this stage, are any of them actually going to be used in your research? Next step is to think about experiments that are required to answer these questions. Do you actually know how difficult any of them are? If you were like me, that was quite naive about nuclear magnetic resonance, a research technique to study proteins, you would be overly ambitious and would realize early on that a gap of knowledge that I've originally selected is there for a reason. And if I knew that I had to listen to my gut and not blindly follow directions, I might have graduated even earlier. But instead, I was excited to try my hand in the biggest knowledge gap imaginable, and naturally, at the end of my PhD, it was still there, and probably wider. So what happened? I didn't know technique very well, and my selected topic was wrong because I was ill-equipped to answer it from the technical point of view. Now, how do you avoid that? Well, go back to the literature and that you have been browsing and now study the methods section very, very carefully. Look at the papers that have alluded to the gaps in knowledge that you'd like to tackle. Are the experiments described in great detail? If so, do you understand what those researchers were doing, and could you reproduce them in your own lab or in collaboration with someone? Typically, this is the first step in a research project, reproducing established results to prove to yourself and others that you can actually do something and use that as foundation for further work. If you see that methods are poorly written, which is typically the case, ask for clarification. Ask who? Well, the people who wrote the damn paper in the first place. But before doing that, find out if they're a friend or a foe. Don't do that behind your supervisor's back. That may be a big no-no if you contact a rival laboratory. Ask your senior colleagues if they're familiar with a research group or paper and if they have any experience with those techniques. All of this is very important for establishing your PhD battlefield correctly from a position of strength and knowledge. This process will put some of the more challenging research projects out of your immediate reach. We often have technical limitations when it comes to resources available in our laboratories. And that's okay, so just focus on what you understand and can actually investigate. Once you understand techniques, try to write your own experimental template that you need to do to address your research topic. Also ask for feedback from your more senior colleagues. They can usually tell you what is actually possible and which of your ideas are, a bit crazy. That's important feedback, though it may be tough to hear that something is just beyond your reach now. Provided that you've got a blessing from your supervisor, and after going through all of this trouble, now you have 1 or 2 research topics that you can start exploring and calling your own. Now, good luck with this and see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to this channel and please share it with other fellow students. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.